Good day, good evening to everybody. What is going on in Bitcoin is the question. It's been a pretty interesting but boring few days in the markets right now. Can we get to the chart view? Bada bing. I love my setup. Starting to understand. Bitcoin's been doing a whole lot of nothing. A whole lot of chop. A whole lot of killing everybody's stop losses and sweeping liquidity. And it hasn't been the funnest time if you've been a trader. So let's get Coin Bureau's perspective on what is going on today, or what is going on in the markets. And how about you? Are you feeling bullish? Are you feeling bearish? For me, I'm a perma bull, although I do have a little bit of a short-term bear in my own personal perspective. Let's see what's going on here. By the way, my name is Token Chef. None of this is financial advice. I'm a cartoon monkey.
Do you want insights into larger player activities? The big players are the whales of the market, and it's usually them that spark the big trend.
But I know people have been really having trouble playing these markets right now.
Bad to worse as regulatory bodies adjust to the new regime and Trump's crypto czar sets out the stall. Is crypto entering?
It has been so damn confusing. I know all crypto bros are like, this was our time. Why is it not pumping? Been a little hard.
A golden age? Bears on the rampage. Retail sentiment goes from bad to worse as fears grow that alt season may be cancelled. Have we been here before? Or
there's no alt season cancellation, but there is interesting perspective on all these meme coins coming out and quote unquote stealing liquidity, even though you can't steal liquidity, but that not every altcoin is going to pump likely. So I'm very cautious about what I put into, like, the utility tokens that I'm holding are legit, that are already operational, that have function already. I'm not really interested in any brand new utility tokens. I don't believe in that for this cycle.
Or is this time different? And a look at last week's top performers, tweets of the week, dates for your diary, and much more besides. This is the Coin Bureau News, live.
Cool little intro there. Got a little news story going on.
Afternoon or evening. My name is Nick, of course, joining you live from Dubai. And hi, Guy. Where are you joining us from?
Hi Nick, good to see you. Yes, I am in an undisclosed location, but you'll be happy to see it comes with robes. So yeah, robes have become a bit of a thing.
The fans were speculating in the comments whether you were going to be wearing a robe, so you managed to source it very quickly.
I hate to disappoint our fans, you know that, Nick. Now, Mrs. Guy and I decided to just get away for a few days, get away from crypto for a few days. there's quite a funny story, which I'll tell you next week, about how that didn't quite turn out as planned.
Well, as we can see, here you are on a crypto live stream when you're supposed to be away relaxing. But you can take it out of crypto, but you can't take crypto out of the DGen, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and yeah, that as well. So all will be revealed next week. But yeah, let's stick with this week. What's been going on? It's been an interesting one, hasn't it?
It has fascinating. Indeed.
So we've got a lot to talk about, guys. Obviously, the Bitcoin price.
Honestly, it's been super fascinating. If you are actually paying attention to the markets, paying attention to the political landscape, it's so exciting to be alive right now. My God, there's so much going on.
What's going on with the regulatory changes in the US, and of course the never-ending question: will we see alt season, or is alt season
we dead? Will. Chill out.
But I think, as we usually do, let's start off at the top of the stream with a look at what's going on with Bitcoin, the Bitcoin price. So let's start exactly with last week. If we can cast our minds back to last week, Guy, when trade war was just starting, when news of a trade war with Canada and Mexico, those infamous nemesis of US was started, and mostly caused a massive sell-off in the crypto markets and all risk on assets in general, right?
Yeah, that was an exciting day. I was watching the charts then.
This was crazy. Like, because the initial figure that we were given, we knew that there had been some big liquidations, but the initial figure we were given was around $2 billion worth. And Ben, the CEO of Bybit, weighed in on Twitter, sort of like, I hate to break it to you guys, but it is a lot worse than that. Obviously, these guys at the exchanges have access to all sorts of data.
Exactly.
It was.
That's what it was. So essentially at these exchanges, there are limits in terms of like how many calls can be made to the APIs from these data tracking sites in terms of the total amount of liquidations. And obviously, it's limited in a particular period
$2.3 billion.
And as a result, Ben came out and admitted, "Look, guys, the numbers you've seen were nowhere near how bad the liquidations were. Indeed, it probably has been undercounted for a number of years now. So exchanges definitely do need to update the regularity of their feeds in terms of liquidations." But anyways, that was a massive altcoin liquidation that happened on Monday. But of course, you can see from the charts here, later in the day, Trump came out and said, "Well, look, we're going to be extending the deadline for those sanctions, not sanctions, tariffs, where we're going to be delaying them for a month. So 1 month, you've got a delay." So we can breathe.
I freaking love that. I knew. Can I get boom? Fuck, I love my setup. I knew when I was buying at this time. I was watching these charts that whole day, and when we started getting this spike, I know that sort of dramatic response is going to have a reaction. So I was buying. I had orders at 95. I did buy a little bit lower. I was eating a lot, though. I got scared once it started dipping to 92 because I think I had a liquidation at 86 or 87,000. My initial reaction or my expectation was we were going to bounce right back up to 100K. So I didn't play that right. I did make some money off of this trade. It wasn't exactly perfect for sure. And I've been eaten up alive, doing all stop losses, getting cut in this area. But this moment was so exciting to watch. If you were on the charts at that moment, watching the minute, watching the 5 minute, as long as you didn't get liquidated, that wasn't fun. But to observe it, to see this reaction going on, and then to see a few hours later, Trump's like, we'll hold back on this tariffs. It was hilarious. Just complete. So funny. You got to be ready for that shit if you're in this game. And when things dump that hard, buy, dude. Fucking buy. Even if we're in a bear market, you're still going to get the bounce back. You can sell on the bounce back. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess switch
Michael Saylor
back. There we go. Sorry.
He did not buy.
Sorry, Nick. I've got to correct you there. Michael Saylor of Strategy.
Of course, Strategy. They've updated the name, they've updated the logo. There is only one strategy. There is no other strategy.
That's funny.
So he did not buy this week. Although he did allude this week to potentially yesterday, his tweet with this Michael Saylor tracker.
A non-memer, absolutely. All elegants are welcome. And future elegant monkeys are welcome.
So, if you guys, obviously we live now. So if he does indeed announce a buy that happened last week, guys, let us know in the comments and we can react to it live. But there could be a strategy buy coming this week or during the stream?
I'm looking at Twitter now, Nick. Sailor posted 17 minutes ago. MSTR has acquired 7,633 BTC for $742.4 million at an average buy of around $97,200.
What a freaking badass, dude! What a freaking beast! He's incredible.
BTC. So they now hold 478,740.
Like, it's so weird. Is Master Strategy, or AKA Strategy now, going to hold more Bitcoin than the U.S. government? That is a little concerning. You know, I like what they're doing. Thank you. But I'm slightly concerned how freaking wealthy that company is going to be.
Congratulations to
Michael Saylor of Strategy. There we go, guys. So he's bought again. And it's another buy below 100K, so he's locking in those the on sale Bitcoin on sale below 100K. Other news last week, of course, we had the David Sachs, the AI and crypto czar. He held his press conference where a lot of policies were now, or like, you know, policies and clarity in terms of regulation and potential legislation. Classic markets in classical, in true form, you know, bought the news, sold the event. So there was a lot of run up beforehand. And they bought on the announcement of the press conference coming, and then sold and dumped immediately afterwards. We'll be talking about this in a bit, but it's mostly related to the wording around this strategic Bitcoin reserve.
I used to get so frustrated by this. I used to get so screwed, I guess, by this, like the buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing. I just couldn't believe that people would continue to sell the news, and yet they continue to sell the news. So it's not a trade I get upset with anymore. I understand it. Sometimes I'll play in that as well. And then you can rebuy in after the news if you're trying to establish a position or build your bag higher. But it's frustrating sometimes when you're watching that shit, especially when you're a holder or a believer.
Last week, now it was a mixed bag. So because we had unemployment rate came in a bit lower than expected at 4% versus 4.1% expected.
Oh,
but,
wow.
The economy added less jobs than was expected. So it was a bit of a mixed bag. Market did rally initially, but then the crypto market rallied initially. But when the US equity markets opened, obviously it fell. So yeah, that's what happened last week. But now we've started a new week with new tariffs.
Love it. Bring them. Bring them.
So this was announced last night. And of course, Trump, new tariffs on...
For the record, I'm a short-term bear. So I'm positioned for a bear dump. I think we're going to have another capitulation spike. So I'm ready for the bears. I'm ready for these tariff calls.
Steel and aluminium, depending on where you are in the world. And this morning, of course, tanked Bitcoin and crypto. We've got a nice little tweet here. Is Ethereum made of aluminum? Because it tanked immediately after that. And so it's true. It's and then, of course, China responds as well. So we've now got this tit-for-tat trade war going on.
It's a fucking comedy show now.
A lot of fear in the markets. And the markets are indeed fearful. Check this out. This is the CMC Crypto Fear and Greed Index. Now, guy, note, this is the lowest level it's been since September of last year. And I will note there was a time when Bitcoin was trading at 59K, when there was no clarity around what was going on with US election.
How can people be this
Germany
scared?
had finished
crazy.
Their Bitcoin bags. So, wow.
The lights.
They got the market at 35 fear, and yet I'm probably like 92 bull. Consistently, you know, all the fucking time.
So ghosts are coming.
It kind of says it all, really, don't it? But there we are. I've got a torch on my phone. I have a contingency plan.
Even though I think bears coming short term, it
doesn't. You've got a backup generator as well. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool.
Wow, never a dull moment. So fear and greed. So I mean, this was back where. So the last time the fear and greed index was like this was back before we knew that Trump was coming in. So we were potentially facing, another 4 years of a crypto hostile.
Oh, that would have been bad
administration. So kind of all that Trump goodwill has now evaporated.
It's all important. Yeah, exactly. I mean, to be honest, things that have happened subsequent to the inauguration, potentially, which we'll be talking about soon, obviously, in terms of altcoins, especially. But also as it relates potentially on the positive side, like take a look at this funding rates on Bitcoin. Now, this is futures funding rates, and you can see that it's now the lowest funding rates since August as well, which is potentially a bullish sign in the sense that we've had the deleveraging, right? And there's not too much long exposure, demand for long exposure in the futures market, which means that if we are going to have a rally up, it's going to be, more sustained, less idiosyncratic, and driven by liquidation risk. So that's potentially looking bullish in the futures market.
If you don't understand that, the funding rate, if you want to borrow Bitcoin to sell it, or if you're just borrowing money to buy Bitcoin on the futures market, you have to pay a certain amount. So on the last trade I was in, had about a Bitcoin worth of exposure. And I think I was at like maybe 10% leverage, 15% leverage. But anyway, it cost me $200 just in funding rate to hold that trade for as long as I did. So the idea that the funding rate is low right now means that people are not using a lot of leverage. They're not borrowing a lot of Bitcoin or borrowing a lot of USD or stablecoin to be able to buy Bitcoin in that way. So he's saying because there's not a lot of people borrowing in debt in the futures right now, we're at a lower risk of liquidation, which is actually kind of maybe goes against my capitulation candle case. And that if when the buying occurs, if we start moving up, it will be not leveraged buys, or at least not currently. So that means that the people won't be forced to sell or won't have liquidations if we move down from here at all, or if we're going up, it'll be a more consistent climb.
This is from me on Twitter.
So maybe I'm wrong about another capitulation candle going deeper than we've been. I'm kind of expecting a pullback to another 92 or 90K.
From or to exchanges. And on one day last week, we had the largest outflow from exchanges since August, which means, of course, people are wanting to, whales and crypto holders are wanting to hodl their Bitcoin. And I mean, this is also something that whales are also accumulating in terms of wallet stats.
Is that daily? So does that mean that 60K worth of Bitcoin was pulled off of exchanges? Is that all it is? That doesn't seem like much. Or is that monthly? Oh, okay.
You can see we've been in recent here. Pull up the chart for whales.
That doesn't seem like an outrageous number.
So whales have been accumulating, and the people who are not whales have been distributing. So the distribution or the accumulation of wealth by the whales continues. And I mean, this is something that we can see on Wall Street, right, Guy?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the most discussed tweets that I've seen this week. And yeah, Matt Hogan, obviously of Bitwise, and yeah, I mean, I think this sums it up perfectly. There is huge amounts of institutional interest. Wall Street want to get into Bitcoin. We're going to discuss some of the other products that are available to Wall Street and institutional investors a bit later on. So there's this hugely, really kind of positive sentiment around Bitcoin, but because retail is altcoin heavy, sentiment on that side of the market is just terrible, and we're going to obviously discuss that in a bit more detail later on as well. But yeah, really sums up very nicely, I think, the disconnect at the moment, between institutional and retail in terms of sentiment.
Yep. Indeed. And some more bullish news to quickly look at on the macro front is the breakdown in the dollar index. It's broken through this trend line that we've seen now. Obviously, a breakdown in the dollar strength is potentially good for risk on assets. And we are also seeing wait.
Okay. Because I am definitely not bearish on the dollar.
One is the breakdown in the dollar index.
Okay. I'm definitely not bearish on the dollar in this current cycle. With tariffs going on, with Doge coming and saving money in America. But let's look at this trend line that these guys fucking drew here. We have one touch point. We have two touch points. This is not a touch point. There's no freaking wick. There's no contact made. There's no contact made up here. So this trend line that they're saying is broken here is a pretty weak ass trend line. You got two touch points on this. You're going to say it's breaking down. I'm not saying it's not breaking down. I just probably, I don't know how to draw on the YouTube video. I got to set that up. Another day I'll be able to do that. I'll figure that out. But if you're going to draw, you'd have to draw from here to here, maybe to like here. Like that would be the more accurate line to me, not what they did here. So I'm not going to take this as an accurate break of trend line. But go ahead.
It's broken through this trend line that we've seen now. Obviously,
the dollar's going to fucking pump, dude. It's not
for risk on assets.
Not here.
And we are also seeing a breakdown in the 10-year yield, right? And this is also very important.
That's accurate. This is different.
Concerns.
Here, look at this now. Here's an accurate trend line. 1, 2, 3, 4 touch points. How come you can drew it here, but you couldn't drew it over there? But yes, the 10-year yield. Yeah, this is a big deal.
And inflation and pricing in the economy, and obviously, this is something that could potentially be bullish for risk assets like Bitcoin. So that was obviously last week. Quickly taking a look at what could happen this week, because that's what you guys are most interested in. Obviously, we've got still on the macro front, tariffs potentially. You know, there could be European tariffs, as we mentioned. There could be more retaliation. There's also the CPI print on Wednesday and the PPI on Thursday, which we will discuss. Macro events very important for Fed policy.
Yeah.
In terms of the charts, quickly pull up this chart over here. Just show you in terms of the Bitcoin on the two hour time frame. It's in this descending wedge pattern, and it could potentially reach the resistance there at 98K, which is a key point to watch, especially from the point of liquidation levels as well in the futures markets. But if you guys do want to play,
and if I could say, like, I agree with this draw. Okay, in this time frame, I agree with this draw. But if we're going to draw a splitter down this little wedge pattern, something that I noticed, or something I taught from Francis Hunt, HVF, you can check out Hunt Volatility Funnels if you want to learn about this trading. He's the best. But all of the price action has been on the lower half of this wedge here. You know, it's not on the upper half. We're spiking up and then pulling back down and then on the lower half. So often I see when you have that sort of price action, we're going to come back down, spend our time on the lower half, and then dump from here. Possible. Not saying it's going to happen, but these are indicators I'm looking for where the price action is on the bottom half of this. I expect it to be drawn back to the bottom half and then eventually giving in
the markets in terms of how to trade it and what's happening in the charts. Of course, I will refer you to the Coin Bureau trading channel. We've got Dan, our head of research, Aaron, Moon and Papa, who is the Moon and Papa, Mariano from the Trading Parrot, and Mariano just released a video yesterday on what's happening in this week and what key levels to watch. And Aaron has got a video going out in, I believe, 2 hours or so on his trading strategy, for making money in this market. So if you guys want to subscribe, we had 69.
If you never traded before, don't trade. Don't fucking trade. Don't do it. All right. If this is your first crypto cycle, don't trade. Buy Bitcoin, put a little bit of money that you don't care about and a few things that may pump, such as Most Elegant Monkey Ever, ticker meme, or Constellation DAG, ticker DAG. Or Constellation Network, rather. Like, those are low market caps that have a potential to give you 1,000x, 10,000x, 100,000x. But I don't trade, dude. It's really hard, and you're just going to lose money. You're not, if you're, it's so psychological. If your first cycle, you're not ready for it.
You can subscribe in the.
Don't go to Coin Bureau Trading. Just watch. You can watch their updates and shit. That's
the
fine.
QR code's right on the top left of the screen, top right of the screen there. So you guys can hit that subscribe and go and join the guys over at Coin Bureau Trading.
Yeah, get them up to 70. Mind you, if once they get, the more subscribers they get, them the more insufferable they become. Those Coin Bureau Trading links. I mean, lovely guys, but getting very pleased with themselves these days.
The 100K level, it's like that's more so than the Bitcoin 100K. You can get Coin Bureau Trading above 100K, boom, get a plaque. There we go. Guys, should we do a quick sentiment check?
That's the metric. Yes, let's have a look at the sentiment. So I've been, as we've been discussing, I've been just sort of looking through some of the comments, seeing just what the mindset is in the comments. I'm kind of like, I enjoyed this one, honey. It's all gone again. There's a lot of
honey. I lost the games. We've also got we pushed a poll earlier in the first time in the comments, and I think it was about whether we'll see an alt season. It's something we can refer to a bit later, but 70% thinks we will, so that's cool.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Good to see people are still hopeful. There's quite a few people, or certainly there were at some point, getting a little pissed off with leverage traders. Obviously, leverage longs getting wiped out has helped sort of tank prices further. So a lot of people losing patience with our trading friends. Look, guys, I know it's annoying, but take comfort in the fact that they're losing extraordinary amounts of money, so they're probably not.
They're losing, and then it gives you the opportunity to buy, right, at discounted prices, right? Their loss.
I don't know if you heard, but like one of the biggest losses was someone who longed Ethereum. They got liquidated $25 million. Holy shit! Could not imagine taking that loss.
It's your game, right? It's a zero-sum game, right? You guys pick it up. For every loser, there must be a winner. And then the exchanges win the most because they get all the fees. But, whatever.
Absolutely.
Cool. So,
we also have Coin Biscuit in the chat as well. I haven't heard of these guys, but I'm sure they're they're the next big thing. So keep a lookout for Coin Biscuit. Okay, should we move on and talk about what's been going on in Washington? Because obviously it's not been great for prices, thanks to everything that we've been talking about. But over in Washington, D.C., we are seeing a heck of a lot of stuff going down. It's been a fantastically busy week from that point of view. Not only is the administration kind of breaking their silence a bit, we're going to talk about that David Sachs speech, but we're also seeing pretty significant shakeups at the regulatory agencies, the regulatory bodies that oversee crypto. So, we've got change afoot at places like the SEC, the CFTC. We've also got the Fed sort of talking more positively, perhaps, about crypto than it has for a very long time. So, it feels like there's a lot happening, and most of it sort of taking us in the right direction.
You have Doge calling for putting all spending on the blockchain. Who's fucking bearish? How are you bearish, you stupid people? Do what you want. Sell your coins. I'm going to buy as many as I can while I can. But
exactly, yeah.
Just
so
stupidity
going
to
through
me.
some of the stuff that happened last week, as we mentioned and alluded to earlier, we had the speech from David Sachs. And basically, there was a lot of stuff that was covered there. He said the House and the Senate are going to collaborate to advance digital asset legislation, proposed an oversight bill between state agencies and federal regulators, and also potentially a revival of FIT 21 bill. Now, remember, Guy, this was the one that I think passed the House, the Financial Innovation Technology Act of 21, passed the House last year, and it was killed in the Senate on a threat from veto from Biden. So that's a lot of people are excited about. That's potentially something that could be revived. So there's a lot of, and he's also said that he will prioritize U.S. dominance in digital assets and calls for crypto a week one priority. Of course, many people were crypto people are very sentiment is very fleeting, right? So essentially, they didn't hear. Apparently, the transition from the word Bitcoin strategic reserve, which was initially what was said when he was elected, Trump, it evolved to national digital asset stockpile, to now apparently assessing the feasibility of a reserve.
That's not
which
cool.
In government speak, assessing the feasibility of something is generally means, it's going to be filed somewhere else. Yeah, hopefully not though. Yeah. But that's why Bitcoin kind of sold off, because it was kind of soft in the wording. Having said,
for me, I want a Bitcoin strategic reserve. I think it's important for the United States to do it. I think it's important for every country to do it. You need to buy as much as you can while you have the ability to do it. I definitely do not agree with like a mixed bag or diversifying any other tokens in there. That's absurd to me. It's Bitcoin only. When we're talking about government reserves, government purchases, it's Bitcoin only.
That there was positives speaking about the stablecoin bill, the one that seems to be the most likely to pass. It's now being renamed the Genius Act, being sponsored by Senator Bill Hagerty. This is one that could potentially pass. It has the most chance to, because it's got bipartisan support. The stablecoin one did last year. So this is exciting, right?
Yeah. And if it kind of suits both parties, this in that it suits the crypto industry to get stablecoin regulations passed, because that, I think, is going to be able to unlock a whole load of potential and innovation. It's going to give much needed clarity around, not just around stablecoins. I think that clarity will filter through to the wider industry. But obviously the killer is that it's kind of, the current administration are very aware that stablecoins are a great way to, to further spread the dominance of the US dollar. And for all the stablecoins that are created and bought, that means, certainly US dollar denominated stablecoins, which I think is basically all of them. Every stablecoin that gets created, that's another dollar of US government debt being bought behind the scenes.
Exactly, a massive passive buyer of US government debt. Exactly.
Yeah. And Tether and Circle now between them by more treasuries, more US treasuries than a fair few countries. I can't remember exactly where they were in the league table. They're quite a way behind.
I think it's like more. Japan, if I recall, it's more than Norway. I think if I recall, they hold more sovereign debt, US treasuries than Norway or something like that, or Germany, one of these. But it was one European country. So yeah, big news on the stablecoin front. Also, SEC updates. Now, I don't know if you caught this last week. A lot of people were gushing over this speech or this statement by Hester Peirce, obviously, the commissioner who's now working on this digital asset framework at the SEC. And she put forward called "The Journey Begins." How inspirational is that? It was an ode to the crypto industry. And she said the SEC is carving out a new path for the digital asset sector, which includes evaluating the security status of certain assets, which is important, right? Because now we have certainty around what is a security, no longer Gary's guessing game. Is it a security or not? Bingo. So that's exciting. Potentially also retroactive relief, right, for potential people that have been sued by the SEC, right?
I hate all this security talk. I don't give a fuck. I don't care, a security or not a security. I'm an individual. Let me take the risks I want to take. If I want to take a higher risk, I know I have the potential to get scammed. If I don't scam, I'm not going to cry about it. I know a lot of other people are going to cry about it because they're bitches, but I'm not going to cry about it. I take my risks, I take my losses, I take my rug pulls as they come because I am making high risk investments because I want high reward. That's just how the game is played.
Yeah. Now this would be huge because this you would imagine brings to an end the era of regulation by enforcement, and I think hopefully this will be able to kind of wipe the slate clean in a way and say, and
it's dumb. I mean, they're all securities.
Millions of US taxpayer dollars have been wasted on suing all these crypto companies already. And mostly in for no tangible result. The SEC's had so many losses in court. I think it makes perfect sense. I think from every angle, just to draw a line under it.
100%. And then there's also one more thing, potentially approvals for new enforcement has to go through the commissioners. So it's no longer just going rogue as the litigators themselves. They have to actually take these potential new enforcement actions through the likes of Hester Peirce and Ueda and the new Atkins as he comes in. There was one other piece of news as well, which is interesting, Guy. I don't know if you saw this, but they also are reducing their 50-person crypto enforcement unit, reassigning some lawyers. And apparently, one of the crypto unit's top lawyers was moved from enforcement into the IT department.
Okay.
So
what?
You went from being a high-flying lawyer serving cases to crypto companies to basically answering questions on servers and shit.
Yeah. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Good.
Fire all. Sorry, I'm trying to deal with that. But I've got a lot of people coming in.
Well, it'll probably be an easier life. He'll probably, it'll probably be an improvement for him. I think I've got to go. Just going back to what you were saying, Nick, about approvals for enforcement now have to go through the commissioners. That's kind of crazy that wasn't the case to start with, wasn't it? It's kind of giving enormous amount of free rein to presumably not all that high up people at the SEC to be like, yeah, you want to bring an enforcement action against a crypto company? Yeah, you go for it. Yeah, you do your thing.
Yeah.
It's like, surely that should come from the top. Like, surely the commissioner should be I find that really strange.
Exactly. Especially if Gary is the one who's getting pulled in front of Congress and being castigated by lawmakers. But there was also some updates from a few more regulatory agencies. Positive, of course. CFTC, the acting chair, also put out a statement saying she's going to stop regulation. They want to stop regulation by enforcement against, quote, good citizens. And we also had
What happened?
They will loosen the tough stance they've had on digital assets, but specifically as it relates to Choke Point 2.0 and banking services, and allow all big banks to as well service crypto clients, which is something they've always wanted to do, right?
Yeah. And again, this is one of those bullish bits of news that I think that a lot of people haven't sort of digested or given enough credit to recently. Operation Choke Point 2.0 has been a huge cloud hanging over the crypto industry. And now that is being unwound, that is going to, again, it's such a sort of long-term bullish thing for the whole industry, especially the industry in the United States, but that will ripple out beyond it. And again, I think a lot of people are sort of forgetting that, when they're sort of judging the state of the market. But I mean, that's great news, because that will make it easier for crypto companies to innovate and flourish in the US and just get banking. It's crazy that wasn't possible.
Most important thing for a company, just being able to pay employees as a crypto company, having a bank.
Crypto dum-dum, I'm just turning off the volume. Let me know if that's better for you.
Finally.
Can you guys hear the YouTube video well?
Another thing there was another executive order guy, which is pretty interesting. Do you ever think you'd hear the stage at which the US government would institute or establish a sovereign wealth fund?
This one was definitely surprising for me. I mean, my first thought when I heard
this, I don't understand what this is, a sovereign wealth fund. I haven't looked into this.
And I think the first thought of a number of people was, well, yeah, sovereign wealth fund. Should you not think about paying off the $36 trillion of national debt?
No.
Would that not be a better way to start than kind of starting a sovereign wealth fund?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, it could be a way to grow.
Yeah, I mean, to strategically grow, and especially in the acquiring shares and strategic assets, like there was talk. Apparently, Trump is thinking to use this to get shares in TikTok. That's something I never put on my bingo card. The U.S. Sovereign Wealth Fund. It's basically like he'd potentially treat the Sovereign Wealth Fund like that. The SPAC, the Trump Digital Media, basically a blank check company to go and purchase all the world's assets. From Canada to Greenland, wherever. But another positive news front on terms of like local level in the US as well, just quickly, there are at least 22 states, I think, that are thinking about Bitcoin reserves. So it's not just on the federal level.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one reason why I'm so freaking bullish. I mean, I was bullish the day I learned about Bitcoin, so you can't listen to me completely. But once this starts, once these states start buying, once countries start buying, it's the trigger. And then everyone needs to follow. And then there's the panic. Then there's the FOMO of countrywide or government-wide level. That's a whole different thing we've never seen before. So if you don't hold Bitcoin right now, I think you're making a mistake. Eventually, Bitcoin will be unattainable. You're not going to be able to buy it. You're not going to be able to afford it. I see it. I just see the mega pump at one point. We're going to look at 150K Bitcoin or 200K Bitcoin, and then in a day or 2 or 3 days, it's going to be 500K Bitcoin or 1 million Bitcoin. Like, that candle will be here at some point.
And I think a lot of people believe that actually, when it comes to the idea of a strategic reserve, it'll probably begin at the state level rather than being a national thing. And actually, like, US states have for a few years now been a lot more individually have been a lot more proactive than the US government. All throughout the Biden administration, states like Wyoming and Texas were sort of trying to kind of, adopt a much more crypto friendly, a much more crypto positive stance. So I'm not surprised that they're sort of embracing the idea of a stockpile. And what was interesting is that not obviously all those states are colored orange on the map as they should be, but there's a mixture of Republican and Democrat held states in that map. Yeah. So again, it's not necessarily a partisan thing.
Interesting.
There
I wonder what the percentage breakdown is.
There are state governors on both, of both stripes who want this.
Yeah, it's a bipartisan issue, non-political. It should just be about preserving the wealth of your citizens, right? Cool. So now, of course, we're going to roll with the Wall of Shame and Fame. I was not expecting that. I almost wish we went back to the Brokeback version. Come on. Oh, what? Isn't that from, what's that movie guy? It's a British.
That's from Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz. Great movie.
Yeah, I'd rather be that guy than you guy, to be honest.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that, Coin Bureau production team. Just because I'm not there in the studio to let you know my displeasure. I'll be back. Don't you worry. It is time for the Walls of Shame and Fame. We're gonna.
So who's on the Wall of Shame today, guys? Guy, you want to tell us why we?
Yes, it is none other than Dave Portnoy, Barstool Sports mogul, pizza connoisseur, and now also meme coin shiller. Yeah, he has had a busy weekend. So I was going back through his Twitter. So TLDR is that basically now we need to be really clear here. He didn't create any meme coins himself, but he certainly started shilling some. He suddenly fell down the meme coin degenerate rabbit hole and started just shilling these things all over Twitter, sort of saying,
I see no shame in this at all. And he was very clear, like, I'm going to fucking dump this at some point. He's just playing. He's just trading markets, having fun. And he's very open about what he's doing. And there's no shame here.
I'm going to be buying, I'm going to be selling or whatever sort of. But, going as far as posting Phantom Wallet screenshots. And it was one of those kind of interventions from outside of crypto by, a famous person. It comes at a time when, crypto is not exactly having the best of weeks. And you're just like, thanks, Dave. Yeah, this is just what we needed. Dave Portnoy, Dave Portnoy shilling meme coins. This is exactly.
The crypto Twitter was universally against this, and it was just crazy. It was a few meme coins as well. Stool Presidente, which I think, what was it? The jail stool, which was actually listed on Kraken. Crazy.
Kraken? What you like? Honestly, I saw that. I was just
Well, I mean, anyways,
it's such a busy weekend. Like it was Super Bowl. It was a Super Bowl yesterday, wasn't it? So, obviously, a big weekend. Like I was going back through his Twitter feed. I don't know how he managed to watch any of the game. He was just so busy shilling meme coins and tweeting the whole time. Like this guy is very online.
He's clearly having more fun. He's clearly having more fun with this. I mean, you make more money, selling a meme coin to your audience than betting on sports. But anyways, we have someone else who we've always mentioned on the Wall of Fame, and this.
You didn't even do the whole thing. That's like not cool, guys. It got listed. Jail stool, some meme coin somebody created. I don't know how Dave got a big chunk of it, but then once he got it listed, let me pull it up. Once he got it listed on Kraken, it freaking dumped so heavy, and then he was on Twitter today screaming about it. Complaining about the degens and the meme coin market. It was pretty damn funny. Here, let's go to Sharful. Bada bing. I'm getting good at this. But look at this. It's hilarious. This is meme coins, baby. You want to play this game, you got to be ready for these kinds of dumps here. So I think it probably got listed on Kraken right around the top. I'm sure that's where it was. And then we dump. And then we freaking dump. And this is the game, whether you're Melania coin or Trump coin. If you're playing meme coins, this is the way it happens. It even happens with the best meme coin on the entire planet, most elegant monkey ever. We get this dump. We're taking the 96% dump, dude. We are taking it. We are here. And you will see us fucking rise again. That's for a different story. Let's get back to this Crypto Bureau.
Drum roll, please.
Drum roll, please. Nope. Oh,
ooh, that was some Portnoy themed artwork. Can we go back to that?
We can go back to that. That was Portnoy image from Beeple.
Beeple.
Yeah, very graphic, of course.
That's funny, but not even close. Not accurate.
And Hawk in the corner. So
it's not Sam Bankman-Fried.
That's another
rabbit hole. There's always so much detail.
We don't have. That's another rabbit hole we can't go down right now. Wall of Fame, guys. We've got, as we mentioned before, Hester Pierce, the crypto mom. She gets a special shout out because of her, very thoughtful statement and ode to the crypto space. And she's the real one. She's the MVP. She's been there since day one.
Yeah. She is a long-standing ally of the crypto industry. More power to her. So yeah, well done, Hester Pierce. Thumbs up for Hester. Thumbs down for Dave Portnoy. Not that he cares.
Thumbs down for altcoin season, mate. Which brings us, of course, to the next topic. Which
You're not even going to tell us what she did. I don't know what she said. How could she be on the Wall of Fame? You don't even say what she did.
Sure, many people are wondering what's going on here, and this has been the biggest discussion last week. And I know we talked about it last week as well, and it caused a bit of a discussion as well within our Coin Bureau Club Discord server as well. But I think it's all over the timeline. There's just terrible apathy about we're not going to see altcoin season. It's not coming, guys. It's just a Bitcoin rally, and So what kicked us off? Of course, last week it was kicked off by that massive deleveraging we had, right? It was the biggest, before we pull this chart up, guys, basically this was the biggest deleveraging since COVID, Luna, and FTX, right? In terms of total notional altcoin liquidations, was the biggest deleveraging ever. And I decided to go back and take a look at this as well, because these previous deleveraging events, and this is the what you've got here is the total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin, so i.e. altcoin market cap. And I went back to those previous periods where you've had these deleveraging events, COVID, Luna, and FTX. And at a minimum, it takes at least, historically, right, it took at least 77 days to recover those losses in terms of the altcoin market cap. So, it's one of these things where that's historically, and that's what I think potentially something to take into account if we are thinking about whether we'll see a altcoin season of any type. About at least more than 2 months ago.
Yeah, I think it's worth pointing out as well, though, like, as we said, this is the biggest deleveraging since FTX. Obviously, prices have taken a beating, but back in the FTX days, back in the Luna days, back in going further back to COVID, something like this people would have been talking about an extinction level event. People would have been going, "Is this it?" Because it certainly felt like at those times, maybe not Luna, but certainly like FTX. And now I think that people understand that the crypto market is a lot stronger than it was then. And this has been pretty ugly to see this kind of deleveraging. I want to take some positives from it, though, because I think the market dealt with this and kind of showed its maturity through this. So it's certainly not a complete positive, but I think there are positives to be taken from it.
Yeah, 100%.
To me, this is incredibly bullish. Incredibly bullish. I don't know how you view this as anything but bullish.
But just quickly taking a look at another thing. The question now, not just about altcoin, the total market cap of the altcoin space, which is something that could recover, will recover, and could rally. The question comes down to, and this is something I'd like to come back to, it's altcoin market cap relative to Bitcoin, right? Or Bitcoin relative to the altcoin space, right? So or the total market cap, and that's Bitcoin dominance. So if you take a look at this chart as well, this is from Rect Capital on Twitter. And his theory, and as he posits here, is that we had an altcoin season already. It was a mini rally in terms of one of the criteria for altcoin season. It was a mini rally in the altcoin market cap, which is, of course, a fall in Bitcoin dominance, which happened from November to about, December. So a very small, short altcoin season that's now basically been trumped by Bitcoin going on an almighty rally, or Bitcoin dominance going on a rally as well. And he followed on from this. Potentially, we could see Bitcoin dominance going to like 71% before any sort of altcoin season can start to blossom. So that's on the charts on the Bitcoin dominance side. And Guy, I think that one of the discussions that's had right now, and it's something that I feel as well, is the reason why this particular altcoin season won't be as big as the last ones is because of the way the market structure has changed in the crypto space, because of ETFs and their unique impact on Bitcoin market cap. Because obviously Bitcoin, people accumulate Bitcoin ETF shares and ETF providers accumulate Bitcoin AUM, it leads to a growth in the price of Bitcoin and market cap relative to alts. And there was actually an interesting insightful report from Glassnode last week with two particular charts I wanted to point out. So the first one, this is the correlation between the Bitcoin major asset market caps, correlation of Bitcoin and the altcoin market caps. And it's got very close to strong correlation, so close to 1, so a strong correlation. And yet the market caps have diverged. And Glassnode concludes, quote, suggests that the driver of the divergence is not the rate of growth between the two, but instead a substantial divergence in capital entering Bitcoin relative to the altcoin sector. So translated, that the capital entering the Bitcoin space is through large institutional investors through ETFs, right?
Let's steer that again.
It's been kind
of... So this is the Bitcoin price, okay. And the 90-day, the blue line is the 90-day correlation for altcoins compared to Bitcoin market cap. And the red is 365-day. Okay. Oh, so basically, they're saying that the altcoin market cap is typically completely tied to the Bitcoin market cap. When it's at the top of this line, it means it's 1-to-1. Basically, they go together. And at certain points, there are dips in the altcoin market cap compared to the Bitcoin market cap. So that would be when Bitcoin makes sudden moves and then altcoins catch up. So right now we're 1-to-1.
I guess you could say it's being sort of siloed, isn't it? The capital that's going into Bitcoin in previous cycles, that would all go into the sort of same, that would all end up in the same big pot of, crypto. Whereas now it's sort of been, a lot of it is being siloed off, and it's being, the ETFs are kind of almost a sort of separate market, aren't they? Not so easy to.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying here, but also these bigger players, they don't give a shit about Solana or Sui or Constellation DAG, even though they're stupid. They should. Or just any other coin. They just care about Bitcoin. They care about the decentralized money. They don't care about speculating on things that could be, the 10x or 20x or 50x, like retail does, like all these young guys, or not even young guys who just don't have a shit ton of money looking for that life-changing gains. Big companies, governments, countries, they're not looking for that when they're buying on the institutional level. So they're just going into Bitcoin and that's it. They're either in Bitcoin or they sell Bitcoin. They're not trickling down into bullshit or just altcoins.
Not straightforward at all to rotate out of. And I think the investor profile of the sort of people and institutions that are buying those ETFs, because for them, well, for us, Bitcoin is a safe asset, isn't it? Bitcoin is our flight to safety. For most regular investors, and certainly for a lot of institutions, Bitcoin for them is like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
This is really risky. They don't see it the same way that we in the crypto industry do. So I think that's important that's probably for a lot of people, just BTC. Thank you very much. That's risky enough.
Yes.
They don't, the altcoin casino is not one that they want to drop into anytime soon.
Exactly, yeah. And it's also difficult to rotate because of the fact that these are ETF shares. One other point that from the Glassnode that I'll just raise is the decline in small wallet transfers compared to previous cycle tops, which obviously just shows that it's big-sized entities that are buying this. So this suggests that new demand for BTC has been dominated by larger-sized entities rather than small retail-sized entities.
Mm-hmm.
And this tweet is quite apropos. And this is from Jeff Park, the head of Alpha Strategies at Bitwise. And the case he's making here is, look, in the past, institutions and larger investors would use the altcoin space as a levered beta on Bitcoin. So essentially, you get more gains and volatility from alts than you would from just holding Bitcoin. However, given regulatory changes and also structured products and these things that are being released on Wall Street, large institutions can get Bitcoin leverage through other means, and they don't need to go down the risk curve on altcoins to get.
As I said, too, like the large institutions are playing at a level of money that we haven't witnessed or encountered in the Bitcoin market. So I don't think this really captures this moment, really. I think a big thing that's going on is for retail traders, retail investors, they just think that Bitcoin is too expensive. They think, oh my God, it's $100,000. I missed the game, or they don't understand that they can buy a half or a tenth of a Bitcoin and spend 10 grand or 1,000 grand or whatever it is. They just think Bitcoin's expensive. So that's why I don't think they're playing that game. It makes me a little bit bullish on Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. Just as a play, not for like a long-term investment, but I could imagine retail thinking, hey, Bitcoin's too expensive. It's 100K. Bitcoin Cash is, I don't know what Bitcoin Cash sells for. Is it 5 grand or 500? I don't know. But I could see them going into that. Or Litecoin, maybe that narrative of like silver to Bitcoin's gold. They might be like, oh, I'm going to buy Litecoin. So Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash are charts that I'm starting to pay attention to right now, although they're not really moving at this time period. Although they were a little bit strong before the dump came.
Leverage.
Yeah, and you were talking a few weeks ago on one of these very streams about the launch of those Bitcoin options products, weren't you? These are relatively new. So yeah, I think at the time we were sort of talking about those being a positive for, certainly for Bitcoin and maybe for the overall crypto market, because that represents another sort of area in which capital can enter the market. But as you say, these are products for a specific type of investor, and this is, they're not. That's not going to find it. That money's not necessarily going to find its way into altcoins.
Exactly, but it's not all doom and gloom, guys, because there are other considerations, and it's always good to look at this from the perspective of few other things, because so this is basically like a chart from Twitter, Luca on Twitter, and it's basically looking at this Bitcoin dominance thing as well. And what he's showing here is that you've got this deviation and capitulation on alts. That's basically people think you see in an altcoin season starting, and then you have a massive deviation and capitulation. And he's comparing it to the previous cycle, right, to 2021. And he's showing the chart in 2021. So you had the deviation and capitulation that went to 71%. And then what happened after that? You had a massive fall in Bitcoin dominance, which means a massive almighty altcoin rally that started after that capitulation. So at least from his analysis, we could potentially see it's a striking correlation. The fractal looks similar. And if it plays out, we could have
an altcoin season sooner,
although he thinks
I don't think it looks similar.
Could still rally.
I don't think it looks similar. You have a freaking dump and then a drawdown, and then another pump after that. So we have two strong impulse moves, heavy impulse moves, capitulation to the top, then we reverse. Okay, this one, we have a dump. We don't have the same strength on this first buy here. This is not the same strength. We had a pump, a retrace, and a pump again. This is just straight pump. Then on this retrace with the complete bounce back, okay, this is extreme strength. This one is slow buying. People are slowly selling into here, but buyers are coming in, and we have a rounded bottoming, not the same impulse that this has. I don't think these look the same in any way at all. Completely different. And also we can see that this marked at 72%. I think it says, hard for me to see, maybe it's 73. And here we're at 64%, so the level's not close. And Bitcoin, the demand for Bitcoin is dramatically different this cycle than last cycle. Don't agree with this at all.
And then also, Guy, I mean, if you cast your mind back to the previous cycles, previous 2021 cycle, people have always been saying at peak, when altcoins are at the peak apathy, people are saying there will be no altcoin season. This is the BTC cycle. And always, it turns out, in the past, that was the sign that, when sentiment was the lowest, that's when things started to turn around.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's something that those of us like you and me, Nick, who've been in for a few cycles now. It's like, I mean, it's easy for us to forget, isn't it? And I guess people who maybe this is their first cycle or maybe their second cycle, we have such short-term memories. So often when it comes to this sort of thing, it's like, yeah, this is it. Oh, this time is different, and it makes me wonder, Nick, are we going to be doing this show in 2029? And having this exact same conversation. Can we bring exactly this up?
Our same notes. We just need to change the date. That's it. It's exactly the same story.
I'll just be a bit grayer. And,
I think it's a situation as well. And another thing I wanted to point out, that the whole question, one of the biggest arguments for, we're not going to see an altcoin season. This is another chart as well, which you guys can take a look at on the screen and come back to later. I won't go through it right now. We're short on time. But basically the argument that's been made, Guy, around, we've got such a massive supply of altcoins, too many altcoins, and millions of altcoins. People aren't going to want to buy altcoins now because of all this. And an interesting counterpoint I've heard about that is, well, look at the stock market. There are thousands of penny stocks out there. You don't, because you have these penny stocks that are worth nothing, that no one trades, that people aren't going to go and bid Nvidia, that they aren't going to go and bid Facebook or Google or any number of assets in the S&P 500. So just because you've got all this plethora of, excuse the word, shitcoins out there, right, that no one's going to want to buy, doesn't mean that people aren't going to want to go and bid the top 50 or top 100 altcoins by market cap. It's just a matter of, and retail is not going to want to explore, there's 20 million coins now, I have to go and study every one. I'm going to go and treat the same due diligence to the coin that just launched on Pump.fund versus an investment in Solana or Sui or whatever. So that's an interesting counterpoint, and I think it kind of does make sense.
Absolutely it does. And yeah, it's like, well, I think to my portfolio, because I've been looking at some of the alts that I hold and just like, oh God, I'm so so underwater on some of these. But actually the vast majority of my portfolio is made up of assets, even if you discount Bitcoin. I mean, I'm almost half of my portfolio is Bitcoin. But even if you discount that, most of it is still in assets that are within the top 20 cryptos by market cap. So, I think for this cycle, yes, it's going to be that much harder to pick out a 1000x that's going to come out of nowhere and pump, because that was easier in the last cycle when there were
most elegant monkey ever,
when there were perhaps fewer coins. But I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking about a bit last week as well, doesn't it? It's like what are the ones that you have the most conviction in? And I think, if you're someone who's got, your highest conviction is in, an altcoin with a sort of sub $5 million market cap, then you're either extremely
What about a meme coin with a sub 100,000 market cap?
optimistic, or you need to rethink your conviction, because
or you're not convicted enough.
Some of the winners are already kind of obvious in terms of market caps and things like that. So I think that's something to bear in mind. As we've always said, altcoins, especially low caps, there is a space for them in any portfolio, because obviously that is how you turn a very small amount of money into a very large amount of money. But you would have to be extremely lucky to strike a winner on even one or two. So that's why it's important to go for higher market cap ones as well, more established ones.
Some positive.
I have a different play on this. I don't agree with this at all, dude. I think you should hold Bitcoin, and then I think you should only hold things that are going to blow up, or things that you think have the potential to blow up. Holding Sui, holding Solana, holding that shit, yeah, it'll probably do well, but we're talking about doing well as a 3x, 4x, 5x, probably. But Bitcoin is going to do that, and Bitcoin's going to be a lot more secure, and Solana can always just die, or Sui can take over, or those chains can just because they're up there doesn't mean they're going to be up there. I like the idea. I have my relatively stable Bitcoin. That is the leader. That is the king. The majority of your portfolio should be in there. And then the rest is in picks that have the potential to really do some mega pumping. And that's why I got my portfolio the way I do. I think probably the only top 100 altcoin I hold right now of a chunk is VeChain. And even that, I'm kind of fading out on a little bit. I'm not as bullish as I was before on VeChain as I used to be.
An alt season, guys, it won't be what we expected in the past, but there will be a perfect opportunity to get some really strong, good players on the altcoin space. And speaking of which, if you are thinking about picking up some altcoins, well, I couldn't think of a better place to do that than Binance. So shout out to our brand partner, Binance. We've got a deal going on there where you can get, signing up with the link below, you can get an exclusive 20% trading fee discount for life and a $600 bonus. And once you've your crypto, your altcoin, you'll want to secure it on one of the best hardware wallets out there, Ledger. And they've also got a giveaway of $10 in Bitcoin in a redeemable card that you can get after you've bought your device. The Ledger Flex and Stacks, we've got a few of these already. They're great products. And Guy, last week we met the CTO and CXO of Ledger, right?
Yeah, really smart. That was a great conversation. It's one of those ones you just I could happily sit here all evening. That was on Thursday, so I had to go off and do NFA. But yeah, we had a really good chat with those guys. They are working on a lot of interesting stuff there at Ledger. So, and especially stuff around, making crypto's UX, making it easier for people to interact with crypto in a safe way. So, I've been banging that drum for a long time that's so important. So, it's good things coming from them.
Oh, dude, how come every time I go to YouTube, it freezes? What are you doing to me?
Hey, this is an interesting one. Some interesting top gainers. So this is the top performing altcoins from the top 100 from last week. First up, Bitensor. I can't recall if Tower has figured in the top gainers list.
Not for some time.
Doing this. So Nick, are you ready to hear why Tau has had such a good week?
I'm dying to hear, Guy.
I know you are. This is because the dynamic Tau proposal recently passed. What is dynamic Tau? I hear you. As you can imagine, with all things Bitensor, this is extremely complex. So I've been trying to make sense of this for a while. Dynamic Tau, as I understand, eliminates centralized root validators. They were the ones that used to judge the value of subnets.
Thank God. I mean, because those root validators, centralized root validators, I mean, it's been the biggest problem plaguing the crypto for a long time. And how can you adequately judge these subnet values, Guy? I mean, that's like the golden,
absolutely,
the golden key.
the golden snitch of crypto. So yeah, instead, subnet value is going to be determined by the amount of tau staked in their liquidity pools by users. There are 50 plus Bitensor subnets, and now each one has its own DTau token paired with tau in decentralized liquidity pools. Obviously, there is a heck of a lot more to it than that, but it seems like it had a community vote for this, and that has energized the Bitensor bulls, one of whom is Barry Silbert. Do you remember Barry Silbert?
Silbert, yes. The name rings a bell, of course. Yes. Barry is a tau bro. That's crazy, man. What a world we live in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Barry Silbert of Digital Currency Group, once arguably one of
Tau's not something I pay attention to. Do you guys hold that? Do you pay attention? Do you think it's a winner?
Crypto's main characters. Obviously, Digital Currency Group did not have a very good 2024. So has sort of, you don't hear very much. I mean, you never used to hear that much from Barry anyway, but he is long tau. Okay, what's next, Nick?
Next is Litecoin LTC. Now, this is interesting. Guy, do you know that Canary Capital has filed for a ETF, and that Litecoin, the odds of a Litecoin ETF, according to Polymarket, are at least 81% to be approved this year? And I've heard the Bloomberg ETF guys as well say that the most likely ETF to be approved will be Litecoin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So people are front running.
I may not love Litecoin. I'm not a Litecoiner, but I think Litecoin's something to keep an eye on if you're looking for a swing trade.
Front running that by buying LTC over the last week or so.
And the Litecoin intern has upped the Twitter game considerably.
Yes, Litecoin's Twitter page has gone from something
savage. There we go, man.
That's funny.
This intern is single-handedly controlling. He's single-handedly developing the roadmap for Litecoin on a tweet-by-tweet basis. Beautiful.
Do you think it's like Charlie Lee's young cousin or something like that? It's just taken over. Taylor Swift did not have a good Super Bowl, did she? Okay, so that is that.
Litecoin's looking pretty intense over here too. Just on a daily chart, I mean, we pretty much are back to where we were for on the highs here. Not looking bad. I'll keep watching it.
That is Litecoin, still doing it after all these years. Good to see a granddaddy outperforming. Next up, you won't be at all surprised to hear that another week as a top performer. This is Mantra and Om. I think now I'm pretty sure this is Mantra's third consecutive appearance in the top gainers. I think that's a record. A few months ago, you remember when Sui was having that absolute run? I think Sui figured 3 times on the spin.
Yeah.
But Mantra has, if not beaten that record, then certainly equaled it.
To be fair, though, Guy, it is quite misleading to the extent that many people would think about, it's been featured 3 times in the gains of the week. It must mean it's been up and to the right. But no, it's because crypto has chopped so much. It's like rally, fall, rally, fall. So it's always like Mantra's the one, the high beta play on the altcoin space. So it's like always rallying a bit more because it's obviously in that RWA space, right? And people are very bullish on RWA. Speaking of which, we've got a video on RWAs coming out in 2 days. So if you're not subscribed yet, do so right now.
Yeah, I think we talk about Mantra in that, don't we? So Mantra, perhaps not so much a top gainer as one of the most resilient coins out there this week. Now, Nick, are you sitting down? Because there's okay, you are sitting down. Next on our top gainers list now is EOS.
But Guy, this makes sense, bro, because they have. Didn't you hear about the EOS conference going on right now in Thailand? All 3 EOS was there.
Oh wow! Okay, so they've put their
all 3 of them were there, man. Yeah, exactly. Okay. They're having a coffee at the.
If you weren't around last cycle, EOS is like one of the largest ICOs ever. I don't know how many billions of dollars they took, but it was a huge thing, and it was supposed to be the new big thing. It was going to change crypto, blah blah blah, and then basically fucking nothing. I think it's a dead coin. So the idea, if they have a conference, is that real? It's just hilarious.
Discussing the future roadmap of EOS.
Wow. Well, they say every dog has its day, and never was a true word spoken.
Man, I was looking at Neo was pumping.
It just won't
I remember and shares.
Speaking of every dog has its day,
is hilarious.
Cosmos, man, Atom. Wow, that's surprising, eh? That's a top gainer.
Yeah. Atom itself has.
Well, here you go. Like he's talking about buying shit in the top 100. This is shit in the top 100. These chains aren't doing anything. And these are in the top 100. So you're going to be buying these and holding these? No. Fucking do your research. Pick things that have the fundamentals that are in contracts or negotiations or creating standards, such as Constellation DAG or Quant. That's the shit I'm buying.
Has severely underperformed. But it is worth pointing out, Nick, that some of the coolest projects in crypto are in the Cosmos ecosystem. Now, this doesn't necessarily reflect any real value back to Atom, and this is one of Cosmos's big problems. But Mantra, that we've just talked about, is a Cosmos project. Obviously, over the last week or so, we had the launch of Burearus, which is Cosmos as well. So there is like lots of cool and interesting stuff happening in that ecosystem. But yeah, I must say I was a little bit surprised to see Atom outperform. But yeah, there we go. Good news for Atom holders.
There we go. Right, time for tweets for the week. Tweet of the week.
Yes.
Great. So first tweet, guys. This is from. This is from Tom Soulport Tom. Boys, I finally made wife changing money. My wife found out how much we are down and left me.
Wife changing meaning, wife changing you.
And here we go. Yeah, wife changing money. Next week, guys. This is hilarious. Okay. So this is basically Unusual Ways is basically saying this guy, Michael Collins, is a U.S. representative guy in the U.S. House, I think. And he just disclosed buying 15K in ETH and 30K in virtual. And he sold virtual 9 days later after being down an estimated 38%. And of course, he bought numerous other crypto over the last 3 months. And Representative Mike Collins himself on his government official Twitter account responds, "In the trenches." One of us.
Extraordinary. Yeah. I love how I love the idea of this guy just in his office in Congress, just scrolling through crypto Twitter and just absorbing the jargon.
I don't care about this bill, man. I can't sit into this hearing. Who gives a shit about this shit? I'm just going to go and shit post on Twitter. It's my DJ friends in the trenches. Jump in the Discord server, guys. What are we aping today? What's the CA? Send the CA. God,
good for him. Like, this would have been hard to imagine just a couple of years ago. Someone on Capitol Hill speaking our language. So yeah, another positive, another bullish sign, guys.
Man. We're living in a simulation. And speaking of living in simulations, the next tweet. I don't know if this happened today, guys. So the president of the Central African Republic launched a meme coin on Pump.fund, Solana, to support national digital development. I mean, I thought we saw it all, man. Yeah.
And that thing pumped too.
I basically said to myself, I always knew that cryptocurrency would change the trajectory of Africa and help monetary systems there. I didn't necessarily expect a president to launch a meme coin on Pump.fund, but this is the reality we live in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's interesting it's Central African Republic, because do you remember?
Let's look. Boom. Got it. Look at this freaking chart. Dude, shit's just so wild. Where'd we go to? 89 cents down to 39 cents in the matter of, what's that? Like 18 hours, 20 hours? Down 91%. There goes Central African Republic. We believe in you. I wonder if they're doing the tracking. How much did the government just dump at the top?
After El Salvador to sort of adopt Bitcoin, and they sort of adopted it as it wasn't quite the same sort of level as El Salvador did, but they sort of got in on that, and then I think they kind of dropped it and stuff. But,
to be fair, I have heard, I mean, a bit of a tangent, but I've spoken to people who have been involved to some degree with officials at the CAR, and they were looking at ways of potentially tokenizing minerals or Bitcoin strategic reserve. So it seems that they shelved all those plans, if this is true, because apparently there's rumors it could be deepfake, which, to be honest, the fact that we think it's more likely to be true than not based on a deepfake shows the state of we're in, like the cycle we're in. But yeah, apparently they'd been thinking about it before, and he thought, well, why would you go and tokenize assets? Just go and launch a meme.
Mad. Well, predictably enough, it is down bad.
Yes, it's down bad.
So this one from Kobe. Now Kobe is obviously crypto OG. He's also recently set up this Echo.xyz, which is a sort of I guess a sort of crowdfunding platform for crypto projects. gives sort of
kind of like a syndicate out deals. Basically, go and get KYC'd and verified, and these vaults that you can participate in these deals. And then lots of projects have been using them. But the TLDR of what he's saying is basically that the token teams are basically, and it shows you guys there's not just nefarious activity taking place among meme coin degens on Twitter, but also with projects. If you buy $5 million of our token, we will send you another $5 million. So you get a 50% discount overall on the buy as long as you hold for N days. So basically trying to create artificial demand at TGE, which inflates the price for the future foundation sales, which could come basically for liquidity for the founders and the team. So it's like low float, high FDV on steroids. Sad state of affairs. Really sad to see.
Yeah. I kind of feel that this is part of Gary Gensler's legacy in a way. Like, this is market manipulation, isn't it? And this is the state of the market. This is what happens when you don't get clear regulations, when you don't get a set of regulations, a set of rules that you can operate in. This is the kind of behavior that flourishes. And it's the sooner we see the back of this kind of crap, the better. But yeah,
next week, guys.
We are.
And then from a friend of the channel, Ben Cowan.
Yeah. Ben has obviously been talking about Bitcoin dominance a lot, and he has been proven right. But yeah, the reason why sentiment in the cryptoverse is so bad, despite Bitcoin being around 100K, is because the entire space has turned into influencers grifting meme coins and acting like they are the next Warren Buffett. True that, Ben.
The next Warren Buffett shilling their buffet of shitcoins.
Yes,
indeed. There you go.
Yes, indeed.
Coins to watch, guys. Coins to watch. This week, we've only got one coin to watch, and this is Jupiter. Now, this is interesting because Jupiter's had quite a crazy run over the past 2 weeks. I mean,
Jupiter's been doing pretty well. I've been watching Jupiter. It's been pretty strong.
Maybe not so much in price, but in terms of developments and also like growth of the ecosystem, because they purchased Moonshot, another project as well. The fees were insane. They went through Jupiter, and then Castonville, sorry. And now they've got a lot of announcements coming this week, and people are excited. Also updates on the buyback, etc., and potentially price accretive. So keep an eye on that. And we've also got a Jupiter review coming this week on the main channel. So keep your eyes peeled for that, guys. So it's just Jupiter, and then some unlocks to watch as well. Now this one's really interesting, guy, because today is an unlock of Burearus. 12% of circulating supply in an airdrop. Now, in case you guys haven't seen the price of Burearus since its launch last week, which was one of the most anticipated launches of this year, the biggest hyped launch. And I think that they've been selling prior to this. Now, this is a part of the airdrop campaign. But yeah, I mean, guy, there was a lot of negative sentiment around this project launch when they launched last week, right?
A lot of negative sentiment, and I feel it's a bit unfair in many ways, because obviously, the Burearus launch was talked about for a long time. They obviously wanted to try and launch when the market was doing well. Time was against them in that regard, and I think because the market was so bad, that kind of amplified a lot of the hate that people were feeling towards it. I mean, okay, there are some valid criticisms. A lot of people saying, "Oh, great, another L1." Another high performant L1 or whatever. It's like, there certainly, there are reasons to question it, but I feel it was a little bit unlucky. But having a big unlock like that so soon after the airdrop, which predictably, of course, the airdrop itself predictably pissed a lot of people off, as these things tend to do. It's not great for Burearus at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think it's market sentiment in general, right? They're just seen as like the easy target because they're launched right now, and they were shorted the hell out of them. And there were some other takes that I'd seen, but it's just a difficult market environment to launch right now, which doesn't bode well for the other big ones to watch out for. Monad and Mega ETH, they're probably watching that. They're probably thinking, don't want to get beat right now. But
Q2,
huh?
Q2.
Q2,
maybe
guys,
launching Q2, push back to Q2, maybe Q3.
Let's push that back. Let's push that back. Keep going towards the trenches, or next cycle if you don't. If indeed there is no season. There's also another quickly. There's another unlock for the sandbox. Sand. Now this one's also quite sizable. To pull up the unlocks there, guys. Again, this one's, but it's about 8%. But it's also going to. It's not an airdrop component. It's going to advisors and team as well. Potentially some sell pressure. So that's that metaverse one from last cycle, guys. So it's one of those other ones which was doing pretty well last in this run up in December, actually. I think in the old cycle run up. So yeah. Dates for the diary. 2 dates for the diary, as we mentioned them before. We have got on the February the 12th, which is on Wednesday, CPI, of course. This is obviously how we'll drive Fed policy. 2.9% was the previous. They're expecting 2.8%, which is potentially a cooling. I've seen some commentary that we could potentially see a cooling, which obviously would be good because that means that more likely than not, the Fed is going to want to cut. So that's an important day to note. And then on day after that, we've got the PPI. So, the producer price inflation, 0.2 versus what we get 0.
This is a pretty good show. I like they covering a lot of different grounds, bringing in Twitter elements and everything like that. It's pretty well done.
0.3 expected.
Good job, Coin Bureau.
Lots of delicious inflation data for those people who like that sort of thing. Okay, let's have a look through. What people have been saying in the comments. People pretty resilient, actually. I was expecting slightly worse sentiment across the board today, but our commenters have not let us down. Poor old Jean Francis is still stuck in bloody Swindon. So look, folks, you may be down bad, but some people are stuck in Swindon. Kian Lynham makes a very good point. Patience is the most valuable asset in crypto. I think you might be right there, Kian. It's as Nick and I were saying earlier, we have been in this situation before. Post-halving years, you do historically get this sort of price action. So I think if you're, I think what a lot of people need to do is just don't try and play this. Just sit tight. We're as we've mentioned so many bullish things on this stream today in terms of bullish developments that are either kind of happening now or that are in the pipeline for the whole crypto industry. So the
best thing about patience is like knowledge. It's free. You just have to work on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And this how to play it. It just means if you're trading. If you're just buying and holding, you really don't need to worry. And I probably would start nibbling. I'd probably start buying weekly right here. This is really for trader communication. And it's true. If you're a trader, I learned my lessons already. I learned some lessons this week. But if you're a trader and you trade chop or you change rate or you trade ranges, fantastic. This is your time to shine. Good luck. Go ahead. But if you trade breakouts like I do, this is not a good place for me. I might take a short time frame 1 minute trade, but these longer time frames, I'm just getting destroyed. So there's lessons for everybody. You gotta know if you are a trader, what kind you are. And often the best thing is no trade.
Yeah.
Very zen, Nick. Very zen. Want Cookies also makes a good point. This is something that Ben Cowan too has been talking about. I think we need to see QE first before alts run. Yeah, definitely. Exactly. This is something that gets forgotten a lot. We are still in a high rates environment. Yes, we've had. The Fed has taken a few basis points off that interest rate, but that we're still a lot higher than we were in the last bull run. So
we also got some QT going on, and the 10-year is still pretty high. So once the QT first needs to stop, and then we need to see the 10-year coming down and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Another good point here from BK. Alt season is here, just changing narratives. I think you were mentioning this earlier, talking about this earlier, weren't you, Nick?
Rotation through narratives, exactly. Although, and that's what we'll probably see going forward, right? Especially if we do get the rotation into alts in general, it will be rotating through different narratives, and that's the point around don't hodl for life. You need to obviously think about alts strategically, what's making sense right now and what's good.
Absolutely. Just a couple of others. Random Dude 45, who has a very interesting thumbnail pick. Interesting take. Solana ruined the market. A magic poop cannon of meme coins that rug pull people every other minute. Yes and no. I kind of think it's perhaps a little bit much. I say this as a soul holder, so perhaps it's a little bit much to put the blame on Solana itself. Pump.fun, if you like.
Pump.fun,
yeah. Yeah, but
I mean, it's like an app. You can't blame the app. I mean, you can't blame the chain for the app, right?
But whether it's pump.fun on Solana or something else, this demand exists. People want to trade this kind of stuff. The technology is there. It's not Solana. It's not pump.fun, and it didn't ruin the market. This is the market. This is what young people want to play. This is what degens want to play. That's the game, okay? And I think it's going to be Bitcoin. I think meme coins are taking over for narrative play, and everything is about narrative. Because before, all altcoins were just bad meme coins. Now we have meme coins. They're just better. And I think the utility play is going to come in when you actually have real utility. If you're a real token, if you're a real token with real utility, then it will be your place. And the trick is trying to find them. That's why I pick Constellation DAG. That's why I pick Quant. Because I think those are the only ones that actually have the real utility at this moment. But if you're a utility token with no utility right now, you're not going to pump.
So yeah.
And ads, ADS.
Mr. Bill is unhappy because, Guy, your cousin stole my gear. Look, that's between you and Barry, Mr. Bill. I'm not going to intervene on that.
What gear is he talking about?
Well, I don't know. It's probably not fit to discuss on a family stream like today's is.
No, what gear are you speaking about, Guy?
Look, like I say, I don't want to get involved. Where Barry's concerned, I don't like to get involved. That guy's off unhinged. And Stroman asks, is that a hotel room? Is he fleeing the country? Yes, it is a hotel room. No, I'm not fleeing the country. Mrs. Guy and I are just having a few days away. But as I say, as I will explain at the top of next week's stream, even when you think you might have got away from crypto doesn't get away from you. So tune in next week.
So you guys definitely need to tune in next week to hear that. It was I'll give you the crazy
full rundown. Okay, that is about it for this week. So Nick, good to see you. I hope you're keeping everyone back at Dubai HQ.
All happy. Everyone's missing you, Guy, and enjoy your time, whatever time you have left. Try not to look at the charts. Try to spend some quality time.
Look at the charts.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Look at the charts. Study the charts. Learn. You don't learn about charts unless you look at charts. I love looking at charts. If you're stressed out, then turn the computer off. Don't look at the charts. But if you're not stressed out, learn, look, draw.
The time I have left, that almost sounds like I'm coming to the end of my life, doesn't it? No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good to see you, everyone. Thank you for watching. Tune in again next week, and we will see you soon.
Cheers, guys.
Okay. Boom. Oh, cool. Well, that was not bad. I enjoyed that video. I think they did a good job putting that together. I think now I understand live streaming more. I think their live stream was well put together. Good call-ins. Maybe I'll get my show up to that point at some point. I guess for me, I definitely was bearish on Bitcoin in the short term. I really did expect. I'm still open to this idea, but the longer this takes to happen, the less I think that idea is going to play out. And I expect this to happen in the last few days. So now my case is changing slightly. I would not be surprised to see a Bitcoin drawdown to here, to 90K, maybe even 88K. Depending on how you draw this, I could see this as a bear flag or a falling wedge. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that hit. Now, the other thing that is creeping into me more and more as a possibility is just a slow, endless buying coming in. Not real mega pumps, kind of just be choppy the whole way there, but just slowly coming back up, and then we're full on bull. Maybe we get one more pull down, then we're up, then we fucking pump. And hearing about the funding for Bitcoin, and maybe the possibility of another deep, because these extreme capitulations, that comes from leverage. So if we don't have high leverage on the books right now, we're not going to get a capitulation candle again that's going to bring us down to that level. So maybe we're just going to be this slow buy. Maybe that's the way this is coming out. So I have a long on Peanut right now. I just opened a long on XRP while we were in the chat. If you saw me disappear for a second or not pay attention, like I could see XRP coming up to this 270 range. Was that it? No, it's higher than that, isn't it? Yeah, up here. 296, right around there. So if we lose the 240, my trade's over. But until that point, I'm up on this 295. Bitcoin's got me a little nervous. I'm watching it carefully. I see this 98,350 as a key level, And I can't believe it. I did so fucking good yesterday. I drew this on the 5-minute chart. You can see I drew it starting from there, and I had this coming up to the 98,350 and then breaking this support or grind line, whatever you call it. Bounce stack. I think that draw was pretty fucking good. I was so proud of myself here. But I initially envisioned this dumping from here. Now we got this strength coming. If we can find some support in this little chunk of area here and we're to give me another little impulse up, I'd be bullish, man. I might be switching. That would be, if we see this, where's my thing? If we fucking see this, boom, up, down, and then we get above 98,350. 98,350 is a key level. That has had so much interaction. There's been a lot of interaction through that line. So if we can get above that, I might be switching. I don't know if we're going to get this bear drawdown. We'll see. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel because I would love that. Check out Bitcoin if you've never heard of it. It's fantastic. Constellation Network, DAG, fantastic. Most elegant monkey ever. Quant. You could also look at ADS, ADS, if you really want a tiny token that has huge potential. VeChain. I'm not really pushing VeChain. I don't know. You got some hopes with, I'm reluctant to sell my whole bag because I always got the Dana White in the White House, Dana White with UFC, VeChain with UFC. So I don't want to miss anything that happens there. If I sell my whole bag, I'm going to feel bad to watch that pump occur. So I still hold VeChain, but not, I trimmed it for sure. Anyway, I'm going to take a little break, sign back in a little bit, and stay elegant, everybody. If I can.